My goodness, we are back. Myself and Miss Emily Mae here to talk about And Just Like That. Season 2, episodes 9 and DS. We're talking about those today. I'm James R. Jr. Hello, Miss Emily Mae. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're going to talk about the hit Max show that had me crying at the end today of today's episode. Oh,
I think both of these last episodes have really got me nostalgic and just very emotional.
Yes, and you saw the preview for the season finale next week.
Chills! Oh my god, I got chills.
So Emily Mae's birthday.
I'm not ready.
Emily Mae's birthday falls on next Thursday.
That is true.
So we're gonna figure this out because it doesn't come out any sooner. So we can't do it soon. We have to do it sometime after that. So we got to figure out what day we can do it because everybody's gonna be talking about it.
I know. See, that's why I'm like, do we talk about it on Thursday? We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But it's also her birthday, folks. So we should celebrate her birthday. That's what we should do. So we're gonna see, but we're gonna let you guys know. But we saw that preview. I was like, oh my goodness, oh my god.
Oh.
Anyway, but these two episodes I think were really good. Follow us, like and subscribe, JLJ Media, of course. That's the channel, P Kids. And this season, Emily, our episodes are getting more than we did last season. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. We totally appreciate it. So that you're listening, that you're watching us, listening to us. Hi, people who are watching already. I see 4 people watching already. Thank you. Go ahead and chat in the chat room. The chat room is open. Say hello to us. Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear it. All right. Let's just dig in. We had 2 episodes that really focused on the ladies and really focused on their lives at this stage in their lives. And myself, because I am their age, I can relate to much of it. It hit close to home for much of it for me. Overall, what do you think of the last show? You kind of said it a second ago, but what do you think of the last 2 episodes?
I mean, I think these 2 episodes are like wrapping up so many questions I have about these characters and kind of getting back to the core of what Sex and the City was about and like the friendships and them connecting with each other and love. And so it got me really emotional that it's connecting to what we all loved about the show. And we're getting some like real life situations, right? Some things that are super relatable. And because when you look back at the show, like it wasn't all fun all the time, right? And so like these last 2 episodes have had some curveballs that you weren't quite ready for.
I had a comment, thank God we didn't go on last week. Maybe God said I had a little comment that now I'll say it now because now the outcome's different this week for one storyline. So I was like, oh, the guy didn't say it last week. I was going to say something like, oh, the guy didn't say it. But they changed it. So apparently, like, oh, okay. So we'll start with we'll go with each of the ladies basically. And let's start. But first, I want to mention is because this part was hilarious. Did Brady and Lily sleep together?
I don't think they did.
So I couldn't tell. I was like, well, she was wearing a shirt, but they were talking about pizza. Like,
I mean, they've known each other. Like, I feel like they're more brother and sister, and maybe they didn't, but like, I could see how like Charlotte and Miranda are like getting it into their head because they were that young. They know, but I don't know. I think they're more brother and sister, and she just happened to stay over, and they like had pizza and they hung out and they talked about stuff. Because sometimes like she's only had sisters, so that like maybe she needed to confide in someone else. So I don't know. I don't think they necessarily did, but I wouldn't put it past both of them either if they did.
Okay. Folks,
there's not anything wrong with it.
Yeah, folks, don't tell us what you think. It's funny because I'm not sure either. The 2 best lines on the whole thing was one, Gary going, it's like I might find my 2 stuffed animals sleeping together. Like it's this kind of thing. Like a niece and nephew. It's just weird. And then what Charlotte said, I did a lot of things my mother didn't know about. I always know everything. And I'm like, and that was my take as a parent. My girls, I love you guys. I love you both if you're watching this. I raised them to be open with me. Maybe a little too open. They tell me everything. So there's times I'm like, I don't even know everything. It's okay. I don't know everything, but I'm grateful that they want to talk to me. But like, there's sometimes I don't want to know. It's okay. I don't want to know.
I mean, I'm really open with I'm open with my mom to an extent.
Yeah.
There's a point where I'll be like, or when I was younger, I was like, hey, this happened. Cool. But I'm more open with my sisters because like we're around the same age. So like, I'll talk to her about everything. And like what we've been through a lot together. So like that stuff, I'm super close. So I get having someone close in age, like where you can talk about those things, but I can't imagine like, I don't know. Like if I was Lily, I don't know if I would necessarily confide.
Yes.
So.
Karina says she thinks they did. Yes, they did. She's smiling. She's winking. So I don't know. Like I said, it's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. I'm like, yeah, please tell us if you think they did or didn't. Let us know. But anyway, I thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, I guess we always kind of thought, well, they kind of grew up like brother, sister, cousins, whatever. Like, what would happen if they got together on some weird level? And
I mean, they're not blood related,
no,
so it doesn't matter. I mean, they have a history, so that might be weird. And if there's a rift or something bad happens, then that might make things awkward because I'm sure they like vacation together and hang out. And we obviously saw them at the party, but yeah. I mean, they're young adults. They're gonna have so many people in their lives. Like that's just the beginning. So yeah.
Now the next person I want to talk about, I want to bring up is Che. Now she's still a polarizing character.
She is going through, they're going through a moment like these last two
episodes. He called her she. That's what the doctor was calling her she. It's kind of funny you said that. The doctor said that. She's like, how many times I gotta say? I'm telling you, goes probably for the rest of your life. It's okay. I love her girl Judy. I love her one who owns the place. She's hilarious. But Che is going through it, isn't she? Isn't they?
I know. I did that. I know.
We were so good this whole season. It just happens, of course. But it's just they've been going through so much. They are going through that late 30s. I feel I've been through it, kind of crisis of who am I? And this episode especially was very interesting. Where she was, of course, telling jokes about Miranda. Miranda's laughing so hard.
Oh my God. Have you ever been to a comedy show where someone does a joke about you?
Luckily, no, I have not.
So I've been
stand-up comedians.
I'm not a huge stand-up comedy fan. This is probably one of the reasons why I don't go. Is because you go there and like I feel like I'm a big target. Like I got a target on my back. And so I'm like with Aiden where I'm like, let me sit in the back, let me sit in the dark and no one sees me. Because I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be made fun of. I don't want to be picked on. I don't want them to ask, oh, where am I from? And then they like make fun of where I'm from.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't want to be put in that situation. So I get it. I'm with Aiden. It's like, I could never write a joke and be that open about my relationships, but that's why I'm not a stand-up comedy or stand-up comedian. That's why I don't do it. You have to be very broken. Well,
she said, my whole life is about, sucks. I write about it.
Yeah.
So I like that because they are trying to find themselves, but their monologue about, I'm going to explain myself to everyone. And they're tired.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure it out themselves. But everyone's asking of them,
more and more.
What are you? What are you? What are you? What are we? What are this? What is that? It's like, oh my goodness. And that new chick was just kind of like, I'm accepting you for who you are. Let's just walk. I'll walk you home while you think about things. So I thought I'm actually enjoying their journey. I like Che. People are like, I like Che. I don't have a problem with Che. So I just want.
Well, I like the one thing about Che is what I liked that Carrie established in. I forget if it was this most recent episode or the episode before that, 9 and 10. I'm not sure, but one of these episodes, Carrie's slowly been reestablishing that Steve and Che are her friends as well. And that just because Miranda decided to have relationships with them and break it off doesn't mean that Carrie can't have those relationships too. And I feel like that's a super relatable topic that we've all been through, where we've been have had really close friends that have been with people that are also our really close friends, and then they break up. And it's like there's always that discussion of like, what do? Do you are you just you like there's always that question of like, do you pick sides? Do you pick the one friend you've been friends with the longest or you live closest to, or and that's a tough position to be in. And I like how Carrie's been reestablishing those boundaries and saying, hey, I know Miranda, we've known each other a long time, but I'm also friends with these two other people. Steve has been around in my life a long time too. I can't cut him out. And I think that's an important thing that we all have to keep in mind, is like, you can't just cut people out because something, happened, in something that you have no control over.
I like that Steve has a little bit of a happy thing going on with his Paul's daughter.
Oh my gosh.
And in fact, she's never
kid. He's a little kid. He's actually happy again.
But Carrie's never been to Coney Island. I'm like, I guess it wasn't Coney. They went to the boardwalk in Atlantic City. So they showed that she's never been to Coney Island. I love Coney Island. I've been there many times. But
first of all, I love Coney Island. That is like one of the things I've gone to in the summer when I was in New York. I'd go to the pier, I'd walk, I'd get a Nathan's hot dog. Like, that's what you do. So that's why it's so hard, 30 something years in the city and you've never been.
Never been. And like, it's Brooklyn still. I'm on outer bird. No, it's not an hour. It's still Brooklyn.
I mean, it is really far. Like, it's a whole day.
It really is far. No, it really is far.
I was like, trains go out this far?
They do. They actually go out there. Not Coney Island. So, but I thought it was kind of cool. But that's right. Steve is happy. And you remember Steve and Aiden are friends because they also own Scouts together. It's like there's people in your lives, sometimes your circle, you can't avoid it. And I think that's why I like I'm glad that Carrie and Miranda, if this was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we got into a fight. There was no fight. You get older, you kind of get into fights as much. And I like that they're not fighting as much. It's more just like, girl, you're important when you're coming to the dinner. No matter what's going on, they're your exes, they're my friends also. And when I love Carrie brought up, you don't know, she goes, well, I mean, Chaim, I'm talking about Steve. Like, you don't even know what's going on with him. And you were married to him.
I know. And that shows how Miranda's somewhat selfish, because Miranda's only thinking about, oh, well, my recent one with Che, like, I can't be around my ex. And Carrie was very right to bring up, like, you are still married. You are still married to Steve. And you don't even care about this person that you've been with for 20 plus years. I can't even, like, I was rewatching stuff and Miranda had so many missteps in handling Steve and that relationship. She took him for granted in so many ways. It's heartbreaking to watch it fall apart.
It's it's funny. You and I both been watching old episodes of the show, so yeah, I'm reevaluating how I like the girls or not. It's very interesting.
Oh, I know.
Beth is the best of all of them. Sorry, she's trying to be best. All the other girls have some. Charlotte to me is second. I actually kind of like Charlotte, but the other two, Carrie and Miranda, are pretty.
Charlotte at least has a pure heart in the sense of, like, she truly wants what's best for people. She believes the best in people, and when she gets her heart broken, that is the worst, because she really does believe the best in people. And Samantha just tells you how it is. And I know, I'm sure you have friends like that. Yeah. And I have friends that literally will tell me things I don't want to know. Yes. Yeah. I'm like, that is way too much information. Yes. I am shocked, but we know we all have people like that, but those people are the most honest, and they always put on those airs of just like being so confident, but like, we know they have bad days too. So yeah.
Speaking of that, Seema, through the course, she meets this guy when she's buying the house, and shout out to Ryan Serhant. I used to watch $1 Million Listing back in the day, and he was an actor before that. He used to be on soap operas and stuff before that. So it's kind of funny to see him. He went course speed for the $1 Million Listing in New York. That's what he does. So it's kind of nice to see him on the show. But also, you're having sex there, of course. That's kind of unrealistic, but very, very Sex in the City. But her telling him she loves him after 3 weeks, I was like, I started laughing, and and Carrie, like I said, Carrie's trying to eat her sushi, and she's like, all this stuff. I think Seema is part Samantha.
It reminded me of when she did that with Richard. She said, I love you with Richard while in bed. Yes. And she was like, oh my God, what did I do?
Yes. So I think Seema's arc is to learn, like, maybe you're cutting yourself off. Maybe you're so afraid. I think that, like she said, 30 years of dating, I just threw out the window by saying this. And so I think that's the thing in my age group thing deals with you all the time. We have these rules that we've made all these years because we know how it can and can't be. And side note, okay, this is always a total side note, Emily Mae. This is totally side note. I watched a show called Claim to Fame on ABC. Love it.
Okay.
I love it. Season 2. Well, it didn't tape. It didn't DVR. Let me stop aging myself,
You
Emily.
can DVR, you're aging yourself.
I am. No, I am. So on networks, I do. So I DVR my soaps. It's easy for me to just watch them. But anyway, it didn't come on, but in its place was The Bachelorette, The Men Tell All. I'll talk about that part. But they brought The Golden Bachelor.
Yes.
71 first. And actually, I was crying like a baby watching his story about his late wife. And I'm like, I was sobbing like a baby, sobbing. I thought of our buddy Jim Alexander, who likes The Bachelor and stuff, who's an ex-After Buzzer, he's a friend of mine. I thought about that. But I was just kind of like, yeah, when you're older, you really do have years of experiences that you kind of, when you're single again, you put yourself in a box. We can't help it. I do it too. I know I do it too. We can't help it. So it's kind of like you meet people who throw you off your game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a good thing sometimes. And Carrie said it. If you found love, go for it.
Exactly. You got to go for it. You got to put everything into it. Because I feel like when you're young, you just want the next best thing, right? You're like going after this next thing.
Yes. Oh yeah.
When you have it, like, and I'm assuming we've all been through this, like you fall madly in love really quickly. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad.
Yes.
And
can get
you in trouble a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
But you just have to find and I think like especially Carrie and like this age group that they're in, like they only have so much time. Like they've already had people that have had like Samantha's had cancer, they've had lots of different scares, and they've had parents die, and like there's all these things that unfortunately is part of life, but they have to like make those decisions and like do what's best for them. So like I like how Carrie's like fully going into this thing with Aiden and really like embracing it, and she was like, we've had our past, we've had all of that already, let's go to this, go live in this moment and think about the future. Like I think she's like shown that she's grown up a little bit, at least so far.
We'll go into it because it's a great segue. Just going to her. Let's go into her right now because I have a lot to say. And I'm very nervous about this relationship. I'm so nervous. I watch every week and I was like, some weeks I'm like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Then sometimes, then he had this great scene, and because they introduced his son Wyatt. Apparently, he's the problem child. I kept wondering in the other episodes, they keep just showing him, not the other two boys. Well, we see tonight.
This is why. Yeah.
This is why. But this episode, when I said big, wrong person. When Aiden says, I was thinking back on my time with you too, and I made some mistakes. She's like, well, what? And the way she and they talked about it. And he brought
and I loved this moment. And I love this moment. This was such an adult moment because it's not just one way. Because if you think about it, and I liked how he explained that reason why he can't go back into the apartment, that he's worried that he's going to be angry again. Because that anger, no matter how much therapy you go through, no matter how much healing, you never know what's going to trigger you again to potentially have all of that anger again. And we only saw, he was always so composed, but remember we saw episodes after were like from the girls that dated him after Carrie, and you don't know how angry he might have been in those relationships because he brings that baggage with him. And I think this moment, though, with them both saying, hey, we've made mistakes, let's not try to do that again. I think that was very, they've grown. They both have been married. They both have had, tough things happen to them. So I like this moment. It shows like them moving forward as true adults,
First of all, your eyeshadow looks really good.
Oh,
It looks really good. I got ADD today, so I'm like, it looks really good, really pretty. Anyways, there's that.
That's for you. That's for you.
Thank you. It is Sex and the City based. We're talking about
Exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, and when he said, "I was so busy," and it's something you just know you learn. It's something you learn later. You don't know this when you're young. You learn this later. I was so busy trying to lock it down with you.
Yes,
I did lock it down with somebody. That doesn't mean anything, and that is one of the biggest truths you can think of. If you, it don't matter if you try to marry them, don't marry them, whatever. If they're not fully committed to you, and you know that you're married, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you could be engaged 50 times and it still doesn't happen. Yeah. It's because if that other person has to be committed just as much.
Yes,
and it's a two-way thing.
It is. So I enjoy the conversation, but however, well, first of all, do we like her new apartment? The new apartment, it's huge.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, we haven't really seen, I mean, I love her new apartment. We haven't seen too much of it. We've only seen like kind of a little bit of the tour, but I think a fresh start in a new place is always good. I think they can't obviously be in the old place. I think it will be interesting to see if it sticks. We obviously saw something happen at the end of this episode 10 that kind of worries me.
Yes, we'll get there, of course. Yes. Also, she sold the apartment to homegirl. That was cute.
Yes, I liked how it's like passing it on to the next generation of single ladies, and she probably got a really good deal. They talked about that, so I'm sure they did.
I'm sure. She's Upper West Side, right? Yeah, Upper West Side. Yeah, I'm sure she did. Anything above the 60s, folks, I'm sure it gets expensive up there. So, yes. But I thought, okay, exactly. I feel so nervous about them. But I go back and forth. So yeah, so episode 9, I was like, they're not gonna make it. Episode 10, I'm like, okay. In episode 10, I'm like, because they introduced the kids, and now
anytime you introduce kids are very complicated.
And episode 10 is very kid heavy and about babies and stuff. And I have to say, I have kids and I have grandkids. And so for me, when I was dating as a single person, raising kids, it was a whole other world. I mean, I didn't introduce everybody. I made sure it was ready, depend. And even me as a grandparent, then folks are like, "You're a grandparent? I'm not that old." I'm like, I totally get. I had kids young. My kids had kids young. I'm a grandparent. I'm that age.
Yeah.
But there's several things that when it comes to kids, you don't want to bring them around unless it's something serious. I try to believe in all that. So I get all that. And this Wyatt kid seems to be someone who's having issues, which is natural for a 14-year-old. It's natural and that can happen. But it is a thing. And I just don't picture Carrie as maternal. I just don't. So funny.
I think, well, there's that kitten, right? There's the kitten that she doesn't even want to take care of the kitten.
Right.
And I'm like, so I feel like because they say you get a plant first and then you get an animal and then you get a dog or a cat and then you get a baby, right? I'm still on the plant mode. No, just kidding. No, we have 2 cats, and we're gonna stay at the 2 cats. Maybe a dog. We might get a dog. So I, not that I'm not a parent, and I'm obviously, but I have a step parent, right? I have a stepmom, and I remember, and my mom dated, my mom dated when I was younger. And what's hard is there is that kind of trepidation and hesitation to bring in a love interest into your life when you have kids. And I'm sure you've experienced this, where it's when do you introduce that person, right? Because what happens if that person disappears, but your kids get attached and your kids like this person? What does that mean? So I've been through that. I've been through it on the me as a younger self, trying to deal with people that are no longer in my life after being brought into my life. So it's it's a tough situation. But I can't, for Carrie, she seems worried. She obviously is trying. And she's I'm willing to take the time to make it happen when it does happen. But I think she has to work her way up to it. I mean, I think she's sweet around Charlotte's kids and stuff like that. I think she's good as an aunt, but I think she has to work up to that maternal instinct a little bit.
I agree. I agree. And and it's it's funny because on the side, and we'll get back to them and what happened at the end, but going back a little bit. So they decided to give us two different things to look at. Homegirl professor, her ex-man is having a baby.
Yeah. Which happened really fast. I was like, dang.
Yeah, I know. But firstly, it was, remember the last episode before this, it was she saw online.
Yeah.
Which I can say we all, yes, I have a couple exes I've followed online. And I see something to go, oh. And that was after she was having amazing sex with this dude.
Yeah.
It really hit her. It's like, he went on to have that baby.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to do it. And now this episode was the baby shower and her invite.
Have you gotten an awkward invite from someone that you weren't expecting?
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple times. Yeah, a couple times.
It's really awkward when I've gotten a few wedding invitations.
Yeah, that was me too. Yes.
Where I'm like, not a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't go.
Like, I'm not going to go. This is just like going to be bad news. Not that I would break up a wedding or anything.
No, of course not. Yeah,
but I'm like, not a healthy choice on any of our sides there.
Yes, I agree with that. So just for her, I'm wondering what her arc's going to be, because right now she's just been having sex, and Miranda can't get to the bathroom. You know, like, I mean, but that's that was so funny. But I'm curious, will she have a baby all of a sudden? Will that change? And then she's outside. Like, if they have another season, would that be the thing where she's like, I'm really curious, because I know part of it is just that you see your partner move on. It's always, ex-partner is always hard, but it's a baby thing. It's like, it's kicking her right in the gut, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously, like, I think she would want one, but it needs to be with the right person. You can't just go and have a baby just to have a baby, it obviously wasn't working for them. But that is probably like a huge gut punch for her. You could see that she was like manically like, I'm going to buy the most expensive thing, and like, they'll have to think about me 24/7. She kind of got a little, a little wild there. I think she needs to take it down a notch. Yes. But yeah, I mean, she obviously needs to do it with the right person. And it obviously at that point was not the right person. So no matter how hard it is, it's probably for the best.
And then on the other side, because at the end of the last episode 4, I was like, LW's pregnant. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, more babies.
I was like, more babies, and she's a little older. I know it can happen.
Isn't she like 42, 43?
I thought she was older than that. I thought she was older. I mean, she's 42. Still, that's still dangerous territory. You can have kids still at the time. That's totally possible. But it's still we find out basically she lost the baby.
Yeah.
They chose to kind of have that happen. But they saw what they chose to do though first was have her have that existential crisis. Because she had fallen asleep and was talking to Charlotte, like she has a life she wants to have, and so does Herbert. And she already has 4 kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think or 3. She has 3 kids. I think what's interesting is like Charlotte is one that put her career, and I think this is a lot of discussion in these episodes, is like Charlotte is going back to her career after raising 2 kids. And then now, Herbert and I totally blanked on her name.
LW.
Oh yeah. Like her career is finally taking off. Like she might get a documentary, do all this. And then she's like, thought she was past this stage of raising the 3 kids. And then now she's like pregnant again. And so it is really scary, right? Like, I feel like this is more of a topic for women, because I feel like women have to have that discussion more, unfortunately, because there's kind of that stigma that you can't have both. Like, you can't have a family and have a career, and you can't have it at the same time. And Miranda struggled with it too, like in the early seasons, with Brady and Steve and work, trying to be a partner at the law firm. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's a very relevant topic, and it's something that women around the world struggle with. They're like, it's hard to have both.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny because I was actually asked to father a child about At this point, it would be 15 years ago. And my kids were already grown. I was already becoming a grandfather. And so I was like, I thought about it for a second, but I'm thinking now I'd be raising a 15-year-old child. I'm like, oh, I'm good.
High schooler. Like
At this age, my 50s, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good, kids. Because kids, seriously, how it should be, in my opinion, you should be putting your attention on them and their growth. Raising a human being is not easy. And a lot of stuff stops becoming about you. It really does. And so when my daughters were grown, I was like, it's back to me again fully. Like I felt like it was back to me some level because now they're grown. Not saying I'm done. I still give advice and do things, but it's like, oh, this is great. This is like, okay, now I have to drive them to school or drive them to practice. Or I mean, I'm good. Now I can actually just be James Law Jr. again and whatever that is. And so I think I take raising kids very seriously. I think it's just something it's very serious. You can't just be willy-nilly about it. So I get, and it kind of showed Charlotte going through this, back to work. Shout out to Sam Smith. I see him on there. I was on there. But that everybody kept calling her.
Yeah. Everything. And that's the thing. And like, and Harry said like, oh, I was going to step up, and like the notebook went missing, right? At the school. Right. And she's like, hey, you promised me you would step up. And like, that's the thing is like, they're both very career driven, but like your partner has to help pick up the slack. If like, you're going to take on another project, take on a new job, like Charlotte was like, this is part of the deal you said. And I love how like she wanted to leave right at 6:30 and was like, all right, I gotta go, even though she sold like $100,000+ painting. And I liked how she loosened up a bit and was like,
she got drunk. That whole scene when she was drunk.
Hilarious. So funny. Because it's like she doesn't get loose. She doesn't relax. She's always uptight. She's always worried about a million other things. Yes. So she had to.
Which for mothers and women.
It's like so much pressure. So much pressure.
See, I don't know how women, I have long hair underneath this cap. And there's days I'm like, ugh, I don't know how women do it. Because you guys have the stress we have going on, just regular stresses. But then also we expect you to look good to the same time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you can't just go on camera and just look like whatever you want, or leave the house however you want. A lot of times society puts these other things on you too. So in addition to the regular stresses, there are these stresses, you have that also.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Crazy.
And there's the pressure of like, we won't dive into it, but of like having that perfect body after you have a kid. And it's like, that's a whole other topic, but I feel like that's another added pressure that people don't really talk about.
Yes, I agree. And so before we get to the other stuff, Anthony.
Yes, this was a big storyline. Yeah.
So they're fighting their way. And also shout out to Stanford because they had a drink in his honor. Yeah. And if you go online, I saw it on Twitter, they have a writer's room that talks after. Mike Patrick Keith talked about that. And he got very teary-eyed. He said, she drinks the whole drink in one sitting, the Cosmo, and winks at Anthony. He goes, that wasn't planned. That was Sarah Jessica Parker. And he felt like that was kind of a salute to Willie Garson.
Yeah.
Because he's no longer with us. If you didn't know, he's no longer with us. Yeah. And I say goodbye to that apartment. It's like you can't do without Stan.
No, you can't.
And we're busy with Anthony. So there's a little shout to that. But Anthony and Homeboy and the whole top bottom thing. So I don't. Did you know about this before? I don't know what you know or don't know. Like, what do you know about the top bottom in gay world?
I mean, I'm not like super familiar with it, but like I understand the dynamics.
Okay, I mean, you're in LA. There's some gay folks. I just wasn't sure what you know or don't know. I was like, I have to ask
it made me laugh pretty hard though.
It was hilarious. I was like, and showing Anthony naked, and for me, the gay portion of this for me, it is for older gay men. He said something that's actually very true. A lot of times we are set in our ways because we've been around for a long time. We came from a different time period. Yeah. So I thought it was very actually interesting to have this little conversation of you guys today, you gays today versus our generation, because Anthony's my generation. And like, we do view things a little differently. So we date intergenerationally. This will be interesting for them because he sees it as like, well, why not? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
adage, well, you're the woman, so to speak. That's an old saying, but like,
Yeah.
I get it. I totally understand where he's coming
Well,
from.
and then like, but then the younger guy was like, oh, well, why does it have to be like
Right.
that? You know? So I found it interesting that there was like that conversation, you know. I love how he's getting some young studs in the bed.
Yes, he is.
Um,
Good for him.
Yeah.
So yes, I think it's kind of cool. They had that conversation.
But there also was like that closure. There was lots of people. I don't know if you saw lots of people talking about the letter that Carrie got. And I feel like that was an emotional scene, and I feel like they kind of buttoned it up in the right way. I don't know how you felt about it.
I agree the same. And putting a button on is a term in our business that we say. So yes, I think they did. I agree with you completely. It was good. So they had to figure out a way to do it. So he lives off camera. So he's just kind of.
He's just like he's at peace. I liked how they said he was at peace. Yeah. You know, I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's obviously the real life statement. That's
yeah. Like we know he's living his best life in the place that he's at now in real, but he can live on a little bit still in the show.
Yes. It's
but
so
I also
weird.
Yeah.
It's
weird. No, go ahead.
I was saying it's just so weird when someone dies in real life. How unexpectedly, how you have to, they're an integral part of the show. They're just a supporting character, or whatever. But he was an integral part of the show. He was her male best friend.
Yeah.
And then later was married to Anthony. So it's kind of like you have to honor him on some level. You can't just like he's a part of Sex and the City world as anybody else.
Yeah.
As one of the girls. I mean, so it's like you have to kind of honor him. So I think they did. I agree with you. I agree with Emily. They did a great job in doing that. Great job. Okay, so the big moment that made me cry, because having your loved one period get hurt is scary enough, but having your kid get hurt and do something. So, folks, if you spoiler alert, if you haven't watched this, spoiler alert. So Wyatt hitchhikes to the farm 30 miles away, crazy in Virginia, and then gets in his truck and slams his truck into a tree.
Oh my God.
And when he said, his wife said it was his collarbone, when he got there, his legs. I thought that's very realistic. When my mother got sick, I had to tell my brother to come to the house first. I didn't tell him everything. I told him once she sat down. It's one of those kind of, man, I make those decisions sometimes because you also want the people to be rational as they make their plans to come, come home. So that was just very close to me, probably close to me. But having your kid in the hospital and being upset, and he kept saying, I should have been there, that makes me nervous.
I know. So I know it makes me nervous. I think Aiden might back out of this big apartment in the city.
I know.
That's the feeling I got. But I also understand his perspective because his kids need to come first, no matter what.
They do.
And they always will. And Carrie has to understand that. So whether it's like he's only visiting her like once a month in the city, and he still has his place in Virginia or in the woods somewhere, he has to make decisions that's best for him because Carrie hasn't been there this whole time. But he's been raising his kids and he's had this partner and his wife, now ex-wife. Like, there's other factors here that like he can't just pick up his life and be like, all right, I'm going to leave it all behind, because that's not how it works.
Also, we met the ex-wife in episode 9.
Yes.
How you felt that? She was like, don't put my kids in any of your work. Do not. I
totally love protective mama there. I loved it. She was like, don't write about my kids. She's like, do not hurt Aiden again. I loved it. I loved it because it shows that, because even though like you have exes, I think you still care for them. And especially when you have kids with someone, I'm assuming you're still going to like make sure that they are okay, because they are your parents' other parent, right? Or your kid's other parent, right? So you're going to still care. Like they're the mother or father of your children, right? I'm hoping you're still going to care about their well-being, right? Because their well-being ties into your kids' well-being, right? So I liked how she was very protective and was like, hey, I'm glad you guys are happy. You found each other again, but don't hurt them, you know, and I was like, okay. I don't think she still has feelings for him. I didn't get that vibe. I just got the like protective, like I'm doing this for my kids vibe.
Same here. Didn't get that vibe, but I just thought, wow. Yeah, I don't think Carrie was thinking about it, but it's kind of like she was like, oh, okay. I mean, I got it.
Yeah.
It just showed us again, Carrie, you're dating someone with kids. This isn't just a regular. You can't have a regular. This is serious, Carrie. So if
you're not like single Carrie anymore, where
Nope.
you can. Nope. You're gonna find a lot of people that have been divorced or that have had their spouses maybe pass away too, and they're gonna have kids, and some might even have be grandparents. So you're getting to that age where you're not gonna get that 22-year-old.
But that scene made me cry. That's just like he just broke down. And
my gosh.
Oh, I'm like, and that's horrible to your kid.
So, I know. I'm wondering if Carrie's like gonna go there and like help him when or just leave it and then have him come back.
They have the dinner to go through first next week, and she says goodbye to the house.
But he's not going to go to the dinner. I don't think.
I don't think so either. But I'm saying.
I think Samantha. Do you think Samantha won't show up? I think it's just a phone call. But I wonder what the catalyst is. Why Samantha calls.
Same here. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe because she's like the apartment, and you're finally getting rid of the apartment. I had to call. But Samantha could be the catalyst to like go to Aiden. Like he needs you. Go, don't shut down. His kid, like you said, his kids are always going to be very important, but he does care about you. You should go. So I don't know. I'm with you. I'm not sure either. I'm not really sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in the preview I saw, she looks at her phone and says, Samantha's like, oh my God. I
know. And of course, I'd say I knew it. They were going to wait until the last minute.
You called it early in the season. You did.
The last episode.
You did. You called it early in the season. I wasn't sure when. I forgot about it actually until the scene. I'm like, oh yeah, season's over next week. We haven't seen Samantha yet.
Yeah. Do you think that Aiden and Carrie will be engaged?
I don't know. I'm so nervous. I'm seriously nervous, Emily Mae. I am nervous about this relationship. I have no idea. To tell you the truth, I really have no. I usually can predict like, oh, it could be this. On this show, you just never know, and we don't know if there's season 3 yet either.
I don't know.
So I don't know how they're going to end it.
We have to look for a documentary behind the scenes. We got to look for so much stuff.
Exactly. So, and we'll cover it here, of course, like we did last season. But I don't know if it's season 3 now. I mean, I don't know yet. I have no idea. So I don't know. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous.
I know, because I like them together. Like they seem like it's such a natural fit. And I think there's been lots of discussion online I've seen about Carrie bringing up the fact that she feels like Big was a mistake.
Yes.
Well, and I know we mentioned it last time, but I think that's what she's trying to grapple with right now. I don't think you can throw away a whole relationship and say it was a whole mistake, like in its whole entirety. Like they were together for 20 plus years. They were married for 10-ish. I'm trying to remember the timeline. I think a while. So I don't think you can throw that away and be like, the whole thing was a mistake. I think parts of it might have been, or like how certain things were handled might have been a mistake, but so I think it's unfair for her to say that it was a full mistake altogether.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right now, I just think that now with Big out the way, and you said it last week, 2 weeks ago, she can now fully give herself to him. Yeah. Without any encumbrance, nothing. There's nothing.
And the only hindrance she would do is the things that she puts on herself.
Yes.
So she doesn't have any other outside factors besides maybe the kids that might affect it, or maybe Aiden might be like, hey, I can't do this. I have to focus on my kids. So that might come up. But I don't think there's anything standing in Carrie's way at this point. And if she does mess it up, it's on her own.
I agree.
And if she messes it up again, I'm mad.
She'll be mad. She'll be mad.
You don't want Emily Mae mad.
He's all, you broke my heart. Like,
yes. Yes. Don't break my heart, you guys. Don't break my heart again.
Oh my God. On that note, we'll end the series. You guys, it's been so much fun. And like I said, we'll be back for the season finale. We're going to find a day. Just follow us. We'll let you know when it is. Because I want you guys to wish her though a happy birthday because that's very important. It is your birthday next week. That's very important. So celebrate that. But we will be back for the finale, and then we'll wait and see if there's any kind of documentaries like last time, and we'll do a show on that too, of course. But I want to thank you guys so much for just tuning in this season with us, and we've had a fun time doing it. Emily, you're a great co-host. So I just love doing this with you.
This is so much fun. I love watching it. I've been like watching so much Sex in the City. My husband's like, "What is happening? How much are you watching?" I'm like, "All the time, all the time." I'm like, I'm getting ideas.
I'm sure he likes that.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Where can they find you at? Because you do have things going on too. Yes, what's going on?
Yeah, so you can follow me on all social platforms. I'm on pretty much everything at Emily Mae, and I have some shows this weekend and through the month of September. So follow me, and you'll see me on TV.
Yes, check her out. Check her out. I'm where all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. and also some of your platforms. And I stole that phrase. It was actually given to me. I could use it from an ex-AfterBuzzer who just had a birthday a couple of days ago, Alexis Torres. So Alexis Torres, I love you. Dude, shout out to you. She's the best. So she's the one who let me take the phrase and use it. But you can follow me there always for all the stuff and all JLJ Media-ness. You guys, please be nice to each other. We're going through August. We're getting there. So everybody's going back to school. People are going back to work on some level. Vacations are coming to a close these last couple of weeks. But enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you next time.